This little guy with this 10 millimeter carbon nanotube IM is a different flavor of ISN. Hello. So, you guys have asked for me to make these videos a little bit shorter because you have a very low attention span like me. So that's perfect. And I am. Here we go. ISN Neo1. If you watched my video for the Neo 5, you knew I was a big fan of the little purple beast. Bassy, warm, and gooey. Well, this is the ISN 1, and what I was thinking was, okay, maybe this will be a lower resolving, less bassy version of a Neo 5, and it is not that. So let's get into this. This is a more energetic ISN than what your typical ISN house sound, which is known for its bassy signature. Don't get me wrong, this IM has bass in it. And bass is actually the star of the show. It's speedy, it has a really nice texture to it, so I'm not complaining about the bass. But when it first came in, it was very bright and shouty. I happen to be treble sensitive at around that 4.5 to 5K on certain IMs. And this happened to be one of them. So I reached out to Penon, gave some feedback, and lo and behold, they ship out a tuning kit with your Neo 1. Now, not everybody is treble sensitive like yours truly. And some of that tuning they love very much. The upper mids are a blessing, and it really resonates really well with certain people. Not this monk, per se. Let's talk in depth a little bit more about the ISN Neo 1. I did say that the bass was a standout feature, but this little bad boy is not a one-trick pony. Oh no, it certainly isn't. Here's my journey with these little guys. So open them up, take a look. They are quite pretty, kind of a reddy brown, that wood kind of texture with the ISN logo embedded on one side, and Neo 5 in gold, Neo 1, sorry, on the other side. And quite pretty, small little resin shells. Semi-transparent, so you can quite see the driver inside, and the nozzles themselves are also molded as well, so it's not a brass nozzle. Out of the box, not a fan. And that had to do with the upper mids and treble for me. It's definitely not my preferred sound signature. So I did leave these things burning on a rack for about 7 days straight. So torture test / burn in. It needed about 120 hours at least to mellow it out and change its tuning. Where it was really bright and glary and made my ears ring almost instantly, they mellowed quite a bit. So then I started playing around with the supplied little tuning kit, and lo and behold, I added the mesh filter and the cotton filter on top of the nozzle. Now, this kind of knocked down a lot of the peanut gain quite a bit to where it it's a very exciting tuning. Again, not my preferred sound signature, but quite quite nice and engaging into the top end. And that's where the second trick of this little pony comes into place, is the vocals. So favors female vocals still, for sure, over male vocals in the way it comes across in its tonality. Where male vocals were a little bit light in the note weight, I thought, and same as pianos and cello. That, and I'll pull up a graph and you can take a look at how this thing was on paper. Kind of followed that quite a lot. So it did sound like it graphed on paper. Where now is the upper mids kind of tuned down a little bit. Brought it is still bright and airy, not too thin per se, but definitely leaned a lot more towards that kind of tuning versus a warm and dark tuning like was on the Neo5. So the lower mids really kind of, where you can hear it kind of, I wouldn't say scooped out. It doesn't look like on the graph, but there isn't as much information in the lower mids to add husk to vocals and singers' voices. What was I listening to? Some jazz and Louis Armstrong. That's really what it was here. And with Louis, he didn't sound quite like Louis. Yeah. Though, with this kind of tuning, I do find that vocals come through with a different kind of clarity. And again, there's a whole lot of you that loves this kind of particular tuning, and you're going to dig the Neo1 a lot for that. This little guy with this 10 millimeter carbon nanotube IM is a different flavor of ISN. So if you were expecting, if you already have the Neo5, you wouldn't necessarily obviously buy the Neo1. It is a significant step down, unless you still wanted that ISN kind of bottom end. The driver here has great texture to the bass. I will say that, and that's why the bass was standout. It was speedy. It was nice. It had texture. So when you were listening to Hawkman Kim with the drums or Poncho Sanchez, you could hear the resonances of the drums. So it brought it out really, really nice. And with the retuning, because I knocked down some of the high frequencies, the bass came up to my bass happy level of more bass. So that's how I heard the Neo1. Think of this as for me, the first ISN that I've heard that was on the brighter, airier side than the darker, warmer, gooey side. If that makes any sense. And if you were looking for a taste of what ISN in the bottom end would give you, here you go. Start you off at $40. And the only thing, it's not really a negative, so much per se as me just being a snob. You do get the standard ISN blue carrying case, which is nice. Tips are great. I'm not complaining about that. Even a cable holder, that's not one of those fuzzy things that will tear your clothes. And I know it's price point. But this cable is horrible. That's the best word I can use it for. And quite honestly, I think one of the other things that would stop this set from being a massive popular, at $40 right now, the market is very competitive. What you can get in $40 or less is very, very competitive, where your competitors are coming out with metal shells and coming out with tuning nozzles and coming out with modular cables included in that same price. there's going to be what of the Neo 1 would make it super compelling to pick over those other ones. That's something you're going to have to weigh. And if I didn't quite answer that correctly, I would have said the quality of the driver and having a non-safe warmish tuning, harmonish tuning like you see all those other ones, where the Neo 1 kind of steps off the beaten path a little bit, pushing the limits a little bit, giving you a little bit more energetic IM, and still giving you that ISN bass. So for that, and that particular tuning, this is a good buy for you. And that's all I have to say about that. This is Tone Deaf Monk. This is the Neo 1 from ISN, and I'm out for now.